Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of Castle Farms Homestead. Or should I say, Brady Farms Homestead. Yes, that's right. Third video in a row, just me. You're all very welcome for this wonderful pleasure. Today, I will be talking about the absolute pain in the butt that getting water these past couple weeks has been. Our variable frequency drive, also sometimes called the quantum drive because I can't remember variable frequency, decides not to work sometimes. We hook it up to the generator to run it because the adapter that we have to run it off our batteries stopped working, so we have to run it off the generator. And now sometimes you turn the generator on, you plug in the quantum drive, and nothing happens. Well, something happens. The screen on the quantum drive lights up, but no words show up. It doesn't start pumping water from the well. It just sits there, wasting gasoline, not doing anything. So, the solution to that, I have found, is you just turn it off and turn it back on. And then when that doesn't work, you turn it off and you turn it back on, and then you turn it off and you turn it back on, and you turn it off and you turn it back on. And then, oh my gosh, this is the very, I almost forgot this very important step right here. You turn it off and then you turn it back on, and then you turn it off and you turn it back on, and eventually, when you turn it off, it says fault, not enough voltage. Something finally happens. And so I quickly turn it back on, and then the well starts pumping. And it's just a little frustrating having to do that, because as I record this right now, I'm upset because I tried to water the pigs this morning, and the well's not running. I gotta turn it off and back on and off and back on and off and back on again. I did that about 10 times already today, and nothing. But I had to get this done. So I'm in here doing this. I'm going to try a couple more times, and then I'm going to have to go off to the welcome center that we have here at Riverbed Ranch so that I can fill up some 5-gallon jugs to bring back to water the pigs, because I can't let them not have water. So that's one thing that I'll be doing today. But the variable frequency drive not always working isn't the only fun thing that I get to deal with. Sometimes I have to deal with myself forgetting to walk the hoses after running the well, which I did last week before, doesn't matter. The point being, it was colder one night than I was expecting it to be, and I hadn't walked the hoses before, and I needed to have done that because then the hoses were frozen, and I had to fill up the water tank for the house and water the pigs and wet the compost and get water for the chickens, and the hoses are just frozen solid. And when that happens, I've found that the best solution seems to be waiting for a sunny day when the hoses can warm up a little bit, and then walk in the line a bunch of times. Just gotta stick the hose over your shoulder, feed it over your shoulder as you just walk up and down the hose multiple times, trying to break the ice in it loose, get it so that it'll start sliding. And if it's warm enough, once you do that 3 or 4 times, the hoses should start working again. When you run the well, should force all that ice out, and you'll have functioning hoses, which is great. A couple times we've gone to fill up the water tank after a cold night after a freeze, and you can hear the chunks of ice from the hose launching out and hitting the tank as they fill it up. And I have a photo that I will put in right here of some slush that came out of the hoses after I had walked them and they had thawed properly. This is actually, that slush is, I took that photo the day afterwards because I wasn't too much of a rush to take it then. But you can see that it gets a lot of stuff backed up in these hoses. And so after using it every time in the winter, you have to make sure to walk the line so the hoses don't freeze, so the hoses don't burst from freezing, so you can use them when you need to, and you have to make sure to close the hydrant back down. Otherwise, the hydrant can freeze and crack the hydrant, so you're not getting any water pressure because it's all flooding into the ground again. Lots of little things to remember to do. One night I realized that I hadn't closed the hydrant, and so I had to grab a little torch and run out there and warm up the pipe on the hydrant so that what was freezing would unfreeze and I could close it because it wouldn't close. I'd left it too long, I'd started to freeze, but luckily with the torch I was able to unfreeze everything and get it closed. But these are just some fun little problems and experiences that you get to deal with when you're living in your off-grid homestead. Things that make it more fun and exciting. And if you remember to do all these things, I don't know if you'll get one step closer, but you certainly won't get set back any in this very specific regard. Hope this was enjoyable for you guys, that you learned something, and that you liked the video. And if you did like the video, don't forget to like the video. Share this with someone else. Subscribe to us so you never miss out on what we're doing here at Castle Farms Homestead. We'll see you guys next time.